Imagine this, a man in outdated clothing appears in the middle of Times Square, New York City, seemingly confused and out of place. He is hit by a car and tragically dies. But what the authorities discover about him is far more shocking. His name was Rudolph Fentz, and he was reportedly from the year 1876. Today, we are diving into the strange case of Rudolph Fentz, a man who might have time-traveled more than 70 years into the future. But was it all true, or is this just an urban legend? Let's explore. It all began on a warm night in June 1950. The air was thick with the usual summer humidity, and the city was alive with the sounds of nightlife. People were out enjoying the evening, completely unaware that something extraordinary was about to unfold. The hustle and bustle of Times Square was just like any other night in New York City, with neon lights flashing and crowds moving in every direction. The theaters were packed, and the streets were filled with the chatter of excited tourists and locals alike. But something strange happened at around 11:15 p.m. The usual rhythm of the city was disrupted by an unusual sight that caught the attention of several passers-by. A man, described as being in his late 20s and dressed in 19th century fashion, complete with mutton-chop sideburns, a high-collared shirt and buttoned boots, was seen wandering aimlessly. His attire was so out of place that it immediately drew curious glances and whispers from those who saw him. Witnesses claimed he looked baffled, staring at the bright lights and automobiles as if he'd never seen anything like it. His eyes darted around, taking in the towering buildings and the bustling crowds with a mix of awe and confusion. Tragically, he wandered into traffic and was struck by a car, killing him instantly. The sudden accident shocked everyone nearby, and people quickly gathered around, trying to make sense of what had just happened. When police searched his body, the mystery only deepened. They expected to find identification or personal items that would help them understand who he was. But what they discovered was far more perplexing. In his pockets, they found items that didn't make any sense for 1950. Business cards for a company that hadn't existed in decades, suggesting he was somehow connected to a different era. Coins dated from the 1800s, which were no longer in circulation and would have been considered antiques by then, were also found among his belongings, and perhaps most puzzling of all, a letter postmarked in 1876. The letter was worn and yellowed with age, adding to the enigma of how it ended up in his possession. His name was Rudolph Fentz. The police were left with more questions than answers. Who was this man? How did he come to be in 1950s New York City dressed in clothes from the 19th century? And why did he have items that seemed to belong to a different time? The story of Rudolph Fentz remains one of the most intriguing urban legends, a tale that blurs the lines between reality and the impossible. Naturally, the authorities were puzzled. Who was this man? And how did he end up in the middle of 1950s New York City? After some research, police reportedly discovered that Rudolph Fentz had been reported missing in 1876. His wife had filed the report, stating that her husband had gone out for a walk one evening and never returned. The items in his pockets, the way he was dressed, it all seemed to suggest that Fentz had somehow travelled more than 70 years into the future, only to die upon arrival. Part 3. Debunking or confirming the legend. So this is a fantastic story, but is it true? The tale of Rudolph Fentz has captivated the imaginations of many, sparking debates and discussions across generations. But when we peel back the layers of this intriguing narrative, what do we find? Well, as intriguing as it sounds, there's little evidence to suggest that Rudolph Fentz was a real person. Despite the compelling details and the vivid imagery that the story conjures, historical records remain silent on his existence. In fact, most researchers point out that this story seems to have originated from a short story written by science fiction author Jack Finney in 1951, titled I'm Scared. Finney, known for his imaginative and thought-provoking tales, crafted a narrative that blurred the lines between reality and fiction. The tale was likely published in a magazine, and over the years it somehow became mixed up with actual urban myths. As it was retold and shared, the boundaries between Finney's fiction and real-life events began to blur, leading many to believe in its authenticity. While some people continue to believe in the possibility of time travel, there are no official records of a man named Rudolph Fentz being reported missing in the 1870s, nor any police reports of his appearance in 1950. The absence of such records casts significant doubt on the story's veracity. Researchers who've dug into New York City's archives have come up empty-handed. Despite thorough searches and extensive investigations, no concrete evidence has been found to support the existence of Rudolph Fentz or the extraordinary events described in the story. It's also worth noting that urban legends often grow and evolve over time. They are living narratives shaped by the collective imagination and cultural context of the people who share them. As these stories are passed down, they often take on new details and embellishments, further blurring the line between fact and fiction. This one might have been passed along in such a way that it eventually felt like a true story. The power of storytelling lies in its ability to captivate and convince, and the tale of Rudolph Fentz is a prime example of this phenomenon. But at its heart, it remains a work of fiction, inspired by our fascination with time travel and the unknown. The story of Rudolph Fentz, while captivating and thought-provoking, serves as a reminder of the thin line between reality and imagination. It challenges us to question the stories we hear and to seek out the truth, even when it is shrouded in mystery and intrigue. So, while the legend of Rudolph Fentz may never be confirmed, it continues to inspire and entertain, a testament to the enduring power of a well-told tale. Conclusion. In the end, the mystery of Rudolph Fentz is most likely a well-crafted tale, one that captures our imagination and has been passed down through generations. It plays on our deepest curiosities about time travel, a concept that has fascinated humanity for centuries. While we may never know for sure whether someone like Fentz ever existed, the story raises intriguing questions about the nature of time and reality. The legend continues to be shared, keeping the mystery alive and sparking conversations among friends and strangers alike. What do you think? Could time travel be real, or is this just another urban legend lost in time? The idea of moving through different eras has been a staple in science fiction, but could it ever become a reality? As we explore the possibilities, we must also consider the implications. What would it mean for our understanding of history and the future? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Do you believe in the possibility of time travel, or do you think it's purely a work of fiction? And don't forget to like and subscribe for more strange and mysterious stories. Thanks for watching, and until next time, stay curious. Your engagement helps us bring more intriguing content to you, so keep the conversation going.